So Dr. Doom right now is probably one of the strongest people on Earth. Now, usually he is very powerful, but now boosted with the powers and full capabilities of the Sorcerer Supreme, becoming Emperor Doom. Yeah, currently there are only really a select few who could truly stand up to his now newfound power, and one of those being himself, Victor Von Doom from the year 2099, coming back to potentially put an end to his younger, more powerful self, in which we see the present Emperor Doom going over his current situation with the other heroes and all who oppose him, the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, the X-Men, even S.H.I.E.L.D. Everyone mentioned being potential menaces to his rule as both Sorcerer Supreme and the ruler of Earth. And so Doom right now has finally decided to not take these dangers lightly, being prepared to, if necessary, completely eliminate them permanently. Which is all fine and dandy to this current Dr. Doom, that is, until his future version, Doom 2099, cuts in through a hologram telling this present Dr. Doom, the real question is, have you included yourself among these greatest threats as well? Of course, Emperor Doom is immediately mad and ticked off, saying who dares disturbs Emperor Doom, of course it being himself, just a future version of him from the year 2099. But even still, even it being himself, just another version of him, Doom doesn't care or take lightly to interruptions or people forcing their will upon him, even if it is himself. But this future Doom doesn't just come for no reason, he comes for a very specific and important reason. He is here to warn Emperor Doom of some grave danger, and that he must immediately relinquish his powers as the Sorcerer Supreme. Of course, Emperor Doom's reaction is just to laugh it off. Who is this pretender to tell him to give up his great power that has not only succeeded in him winning against the heroes and villains of Earth, but even making him the ruler, supreme ruler of Earth? Why would he just give it all away? But Doom 2099 continues on saying, laugh if you must, but ignore me at your own peril. While I cannot reveal the future, as to do so would adversely affect the time stream, I can promise you if you do not heed my words, the consequences will be more dire than you can ever possibly imagine. This future version of Doom expected as much for this current Doom to refuse listening to his words. First of all, because, well, he is Doom and he knows how big his ego can get. And secondly, he has had this conversation before. No, this isn't the first time that he has used time travel to come back and contact his past self. So this time, deciding to take a more direct approach, he didn't just come with words and a fancy hologram, he came physically and with a team. As you see him arrive with a full powerhouse stacked team, ranging from Cosmic Ghost Rider to the Phoenix, Old Man Logan to Maestro Hulk, all plucked from different timelines and points in different universes to specifically help him take down this current Emperor Doom. Cutting back an entire hour before this full assault on the present time Emperor Doom, we see a little more context about why this entire thing is happening, as we find out that this is 2099 Doom's last attempt in trying to correct whatever giant oversight that has happened. His machine, the time platform, is unfortunately left with very limited power, so he must not only make this final attempt into the present day worth it, but also picking his teammates and alliances with absolute precision, because previously with every single attempt, no matter who he sent, no matter how powerful, and no matter what timeline they came from, Emperor Doom was triumphant every single time, completely obliterating whatever attack force or message he's previously tried to get out. So this time he is deciding to come himself, though of course Emperor present Doom doesn't remember any of the previous battles or attempts, because each time he has used the time platform to approach present Doom at different earlier points in the timeline, so it kind of cancels each encounter out, if that makes sense. But back in the present now, with future Doom's plan in motion, he leads his team to quickly strike the now current Doom while he is still off guard. But that is a vital mistake, because if he truly is Doom, he knows that Dr. Doom, especially now as powerful as ever, is never truly off guard. But they do eventually manage to knock him out of his castle and onto the streets down below. But this entire fight so far is nothing more than an inconvenience for our Emperor Doom, because he simply binds the future Doom up and then blinds everybody using the Eye of Agamotto. But this team is formidable and very powerful, as you get the picture of, so that only really momentarily stops a few people, and not even everybody, because DEATHLOK, who has a cybernetic eye, can just see through the spell, and so can Ghost Rider, who technically doesn't even have normal eyes in the first place. And so Cosmic Ghost Rider takes his time to now confront Doom one-on-one. But this isn't just any normal Doom. This is a Dr. Doom who is not only unrivaled in magical power at the moment, but who has also had a bunch more resources to plan, prep, and prepare for any threat that comes his way, as being the ruler of Earth should grant you. So when Ghost Rider goes to use his famous or infamous penance stare, it quite literally backfires as Doom activates a protection spell of his own, reversing the effects back onto Ghost Rider, which I really don't like how the modern interpretation definition of the penance stairs works as of now. Really just working as far as making the person relive whatever crimes or sins they regret. And as Doom says right here, he has no regrets, so not only is it not effective, but he can reverse it onto the Ghost Rider. Versus before, the penance stair was able to affect you whether you regretted your crimes or your sins or not. Regardless, it does affect the cosmic Ghost Rider, sending him off and hurling into his teammates. But this distraction did allow the people with hyper healing factors, as in Maestro Hulk and Old Man Logan, to recover and back on the field. And as they start to just pummel on Emperor Doom, instead of just outright overpowering them, he comes up with a smarter and better plan, shooting magical energy directly at Bishop, who, if you're familiar with him, he can absorb, amplify, and redirect any type of energy, including magical energy. But this just plays into Doom's favor, because the energy he sent out is a form that he can directly control, except now it's amplified tenfold by Bishop's power, which now Doom can essentially directly redirect it into the Hulk and Wolverine, taking him out momentarily. Which finally leaves one person, arguably the most powerful person on this future Doctor Doom's team left, Jean Grey, an embodiment of the full Phoenix Force, which, if you're talking pure firepower, there's nothing really Doom can do to overpower her or outgun her. Instead, he relies on defending, but still, even just defending against this sort of great power is a feat in and of itself. But while he is distracted trying to not get burned to a crisp, Maestro Hulk and Old Man Logan decide to do a classic fastball special. Hulk using all of his strength to throw Logan and turning him essentially into what is a missile, going in to cleave and cut down Doom if he gets the chance. Though that isn't a thing that's going to happen, as he won't get the chance, as Doctor Doom, being one of the most intelligent people in the Marvel Universe, decides, well, if I'm getting overwhelmed by all of these numbers, the most logical thing to do is to cut their numbers down, as he opens a portal, sucking in not only Logan, but everyone on the battlefield. Him telling Phoenix impressive, but not impressive enough, I'm afraid. Then using his magical mystic bands to bind everyone as they get helplessly dragged into the portal and sucked back into whatever correct timeline and point in time and universe they all originated from, which I know he didn't outright defeat all of them, or any of them really, except maybe Ghost Rider, but that's just his own power being used against him. Instead, him using his mystical hacks to deal with them, which is impressive still. Cosmic Ghost Rider, with the power cosmic, the Phoenix Force, Hulk, a really powerful team that he essentially took on solo. But now that they have been taken care of, there only leaves one more problem, himself, the future Doctor Doom, as they finally come down to blows, head to head, Doom versus Doom. The future Doom even going on to say that yes, I am the only one left, the one who poses the greatest peril to your reign, the one who has danced with you time and time again, one who had hoped you'd have somehow came to your senses by now. But if you, my past self, will not heed to my warnings, then I will have to be the one to beat you into submission until you do, as you see him almost getting the upper hand on Emperor Doom. But as always, it seems like Emperor Doom is the one in control, as suddenly Doom 2099, the future Doom, cannot move at all. He is stuck. As this entire time, and reason why he wasn't fighting back and seemed like he was losing, Emperor Doom has been quietly conjuring up a spell of inertness this entire time, completely taking away all movement and ability to fight back from his future self. And since his future self came back like a ghost of Christmas future, warning him about the dangers of his powers, Emperor Doom believes this is the time for him to fully experience said powers in its entirety, completely just blasting away and one-shotting the future Doom with all of his advanced technology and knowledge. And you would think, being a future version of yourself, you would know what your past self is capable of, his weaknesses, his strengths. But Doom 2099 can't just kill his past self, because that would mess with the time and then eventually undo himself. So he has to be very careful about his actions inside the past. And as we can clearly see, he wasn't careful enough, as it led to his defeat, and Emperor Doom learned nothing of this encounter, even going on to tell the future Doom that this will be the last time you have come here, grabbing him by the neck, his broken and beaten body, and then sending him back to whatever period of time and timeline he has come from. And now, after this harrowing defeat of Doom 2099, you cut over weeks later back into the future, Nueva York, where we see Doom still healing and trying to get back together after his defeat by his younger self. And it seems like his castle, his strong fortress, is crowded by nothing but Doombots, though Doom sends them all away, telling them to leave him be just with his thoughts of a reality that was supposed to be, instead of the reality that actually is. Because you would think in the present, Doom is the Sorcerer Supreme, the Emperor, ruler of Earth. He should set himself up to be the ruler in perpetually, forever, if he wanted to. Instead, we find out the future is pretty grim for Doom anyway, or for everybody, because the future as it is now is a tragedy created by his own hand. Back in the past, when this Doom was him, the Sorcerer Supreme, Emperor of the world, the heroes and people of Earth never just became docile and gave in to his rule. No, they opposed him at every turn. So instead, Doom, being the evil man he is at his core, and in his anger, he killed them all. Every last one of them, every hero, every villain, every man, woman, and child. Us seeing a panel of all of them being replaced in what I assume their minds and personality by Doombots. And this is a decision that Doom has actually come to regret. A decision that in the moment he couldn't truly realize the consequences of what he has done. Because of his actions in that moment and killing everybody, hero, villain, anyone that opposed him really, his intended life and future was forever altered that day. Now he's just left here in a timeline that was never truly meant to be. And his only hope remaining is that somehow his past self loses his power as Sorcerer Supreme, so that he will not make the same mistake he did, and that he might one day truly restore the timeline and rule that was ultimately supposed to be. Because otherwise, if what future Dr. Doom here is saying is true, present Emperor Doom keeps the powers of Sorcerer Supreme and follows down that same road, Victor Von Doom will be the ruler of 2099, but the ruler of nothing. As you see outside of his castle, where things seem to be secured and built up, everything else, the world at large, assumingly, is in utter chaos. Dr. Doom, after killing essentially everyone that opposed him, all the heroes and villains, every man, woman, or child, started a chain of events that led to the actual apocalypse and leaving him the ruler of nothing. Which even for Doom, he may be a villain and does evil a lot of the times, but even still, what good is a benevolent ruler, as Doom likes to paint himself to be, if you have nothing truly to rule over? Which is a pretty grim and bleak future for the Marvel Universe, and Doom specifically, if this is all to happen. Though we will continue to see what actually happens in the present and how the heroes might overcome this Emperor Doom problem over in the main One World Under Doom story as the heroes continue to fight against him there. But for now, this was AJ here at the Hero Informer, and thank you for watching.